All right, folks, we are all systems go. Hopefully someone there in chat can do the thing. Tell me if you can hear the mic, hear the music, all that stuff that makes for a wonderful stream. All right, so I am playing D&D tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to turn this music down just a little bit on my end. I can still adjust it for you folks if that's a little too little. All right, so I am playing D&D tomorrow night. I am very excited. Last time, for probably the first time ever in like one of my major campaigns, the party went through a portal into a different plane of existence. They went from the American Southwest wastelands through a portal behind a waterfall and now into the Feywild. And the first session was kind of, in the Feywild, I made a critical mistake, right? When I was describing like what's north, what's south, what's east, what's west, I forgot to frame it in such a way that the encounters are going to be the same way that they want to go. Right? I totally just missed that altogether. Right? Of course, the players are going to want to go forward. They want to continue going north. But for some reason, I made encounter A to the east and encounter B to the west. And I never corrected that. So the first two encounters that I had planned, they kind of skipped over. But they did get one good encounter in. And we planned for it a little bit on the stream last time. So let's go ahead and scroll down. Okay. Forbidden Orchard, we did not do this one. Silk Tent, we did not do that one. Displacer Beast. All right, so here's what we did, right? So this idea was, Displacer Beast, that'd be a fun pet for them to have. Like D&D is dessert, you can have as much as you want, right? This is your fun time in life. So I wanted to give them a pet. And the idea was going to be like, this pet is in danger, it's wrapped up. Yeah, that's right, Twin Steel, the one with the plant and the kitten. But the way it worked out was I tried to hint at the Displacer Beast somewhere else. Like, oh, this way you smell an animal. It smells like a cat, but very strange. And then looking down, oh, something else. You talked to the plants, and the plants told you that they saw a cat with 6 tails. Oh, that's got to be a Displacer Beast, right? Well, they talked to the fish, and that's what the fish told them. And then so they tried to avoid the Displacer Beast. And so I'm like, okay, well, they ran away from this Forbidden Orchard because I told them it was in the wrong direction. They ran from the Silk Tent because I told them it was in the wrong direction. And they're trying to avoid the Displacer Beast because now they're afraid of it because this fish told them. So I need something to do. And so I ran the core of this encounter, that instead of a Displacer Beast being wrapped up with vines, that was slowly being dragged into the man-eating plant pod. It was the boy instead, the cabin boy, Tames. Someone that they wanted to rescue. So going all the way back, I don't know how many folks here in chat or watching this are like brand new to the campaign, but the campaign is essentially Treasure Island, right? And so instead of Jim Hawkins, you have this boy called Tames. But the twist is, when they rescued Tames from the man-eating plant, it wasn't just Tames' voice they heard. They heard the voice of the devil that is possessing him. The party, let's go ahead and maybe recount this all the way up here and what our last session was. Session 10, tentatively we'll turn this into session 10 what actually happened. The party goes in the Feywild to leave the caravan behind, and leaves, yeah. They did this, right? That's the wrong leaves, but that's whatever. The boy follows, yep. Have the boy bring them the map? Yes. Because it's not really the boy. It's actually the devil, right? Boy, actually the devil. Brings them the map. Why? Because they made a deal. He's fulfilling his end of the bargain. End of the bargain. Which is to help them get to the fish. All right. Cool. All right. The drone and Prince of Conflicts not come to head. We've not done that yet. Maybe that can be in session 11. All right. That's actually probably like way in the future because they left the caravan behind. So maybe this whole thing just gets dropped, right? Encounters to be. Right? Okay. So what else happened here? Okay. So they talked to fish, which confirmed the presence of a displacer beast. They avoided. They smelled roses to the south or to the west and didn't investigate. All right. So what I want to do is maybe bring this back later on. I think somewhere I have a riddle, right? Like one of these encounters down here that we planned. This silk tent. Yeah, so maybe they can still go to this silk tent and meet this this dryad geisha. Okay. Okay. Yes, we can still do that. Like maybe the next thing they meet on the journey is this particular tent. But also, what also happened last time is they did get the treasure map. So let's go ahead and write that down. Okay. When boy goes in the Feywild, leave the caravan behind, the boy follows. Okay. And also here, I just totally forgot what I was going to type. Oh yeah, they can finally read the map. Finally read the map because the boy gave them 2 keys. The sapphire key. All right. And see, this totally makes sense in the story, right? Because I made that cool map on the stream on New Year's, right? And like, if you shine the UV light on it, you can reveal all sorts of cool things. And the UV light it's represented by the sapphire key in game. And I was starting to get kind of bummed out because the players didn't have the map, they didn't have the key. I did all that coral work. It was really going to be a wow moment. And it just wasn't happening. So it's like, okay, I need to figure out a way to get this cool prop that I spent all this time making in front of the players. And this just clicked perfectly. The boy, who was actually a devil, swore that he was going to help them out as part of their bargain. So the boy steals the treasure map, jumps through the portal, and gives it to them, as well as the key that he already had. Only need the emerald key, which Jane Silver has. Or Jane Gold has. Okay. They also, I did another encounter. I don't think I wrote it down here. We did like a Rip Van Winkle style encounter. Yeah, I did the Rip Van Winkle encounter. They had a bowl off with some leprechauns. I spell leprechaun. And 1. And so now they have a new companion. Okay. And so this NPC can be useful somehow. So it's... At first I was kind of distraught that they had like a new traveling companion. So like, oh, we just got rid of all these old NPCs. And now we have a new one. But I think we can use this NPC as a mouthpiece. So I got to think of some things that I might want to convey to the party through this gnome. All right, so the first thing that comes to mind, right, is we want to advance the main plot, right? 11, we'll use tentatively. Okay, have the gnome companion and ask our gnome, Rocky, about if he was around back when the gnomes had a homeland. Where is he staying now? So the reason we want to do this, right, is we want to remind everybody that the gnomes are sort of like a refugee people, right? They don't really have a home. They're not really accepted in any society, really. Because that's the villain's main goal, right? The villain is this evil gnome who is trying to start a civil war to overthrow the dominant empire so the gnomes can have a home again. And to that end, he stole the wish fish and made a wish for the empire to end. And so we want to sort of suss that out and remind the players of the stakes, the lore, right? The story of the world, as we say in my game. All right, Twin Steel, be right back. All right. What else is going on? Okay, I like that part session 11. So we want to... Okay, so the roses down here. What was this encounter going to be? Oh, you also did this one, the snowy, this giant snow mountain. Giant snow leopard. So let's go ahead and write that what happened. So, silk tent. Okay. And she's going to ask them to find this velvet pillow. So I don't want them to cast Wall of Rose to be trapped. I think we can combine these two things together. This Forbidden Orchard and this these roses. Let's go ahead and write this up here. They come across the silk tent. With the Geisha Dryad. Okay. She asks for the rose petal in riddle form. The party travel backwards to the rose smell and find the garden. And find the kind of forbidden garden. So remember that the trick with this forbidden garden is that there is no trick. It says that you have to go through the gate and not climb over the wall. And if you go through the gate and not climb over the wall, nothing bad happens. But if they don't follow the gate sign, the gate entry, or disobey the rules, then the whole thing becomes the Hedgemaid's Trap from Galder's. Yeah, so in Galder's Gazeteer, there's like 4 complex traps and rules to make more complex traps. Link in the description. And one of those is a hedge maze trap, which I've never actually got to use in my game, and this seems like the perfect excuse. And the hedge maze is going to be like a wall of roses. I have a cool craft that hopefully I'm going to have time to make tomorrow. I got a bunch of like green Brillo sponges that I'm going to cut and glue onto bases and then like paint roses on to make like little hedge walls. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Okay. So we have a little bit of role play there with the gnome talking. And what are we going to do with the devil, right? He should have a role in something. You know what the devil's going to do, right? It's with them. It can't help but go over the wall. So the whole thing, this whole forbidden garden thing, there's a wall around this garden. You have to go through the gate, not over the wall. And you have to eat of the tree that's asked of you to eat. And it'll heal you. Or, you know, eat the fruit from the tree and not off the ground and it'll heal you or whatever. That's straight from The Magician's Nephew, one of the first Chronicles of Narnia book, and the whole thing is like a Christian allegory, right? Which is why the devil has to disobey the rules, right? The devil has to go over the wall, can't just go through the gate that's already open, and has to take the fruit that's not freely given. Has to try to steal it. Okay. So that'll be cool. What other encounters down here do I want to snag? We did this giant snow leopard. They found a way to kind of trick it, I guess. They cast, you know, charm animals on it. And then like gave it like a sleeping draft that they stole from the Rip Van Winkle encounter. Let's go ahead and... I don't know. I think I need some more Feywild encounters. Well, if I look at the treasure map, let me think about this. If I look on the treasure map, there are already some things that are along the river for them to fight or to get hurt by. So there's the Dragon's Teeth. So this is like a river rapid, which you can do as a skill challenge. But if they decode the riddle on the map and go around the rabbit, they have advantage. So around the rabbit, it means to try to navigate around the rabbit-shaped rock. The rock that has 2 ears. That's shaped like a rabbit. Okay. So that'll be fun. A skill challenge. So you know what? I also need to think here, right? I think at least one of my players is getting kind of frustrated that there's not a lot of like actual like combat or a lot of like dungeon crawling. So maybe let's make a dungeon. Okay. Yep, let's go ahead and do it, chat. We're going to go ahead and make a Feywild dungeon. Okay. Okay. What's a cool dungeon in the Feywild? How about the Deku Tree? All right. Okay. And you know what, we're going to do this whole dungeon design first, and then we're going to think about how it's going to tie into their plot, and then we'll try to go back and maybe revise it so it's a little bit stronger of a tie-in. What sort of things you want in the Deku Tree, right? You have to go up and then jump down through the spider web. If they played the video game, they'll think it's cool because I already know the solution. Okay, so big web on the floor. Need to climb up to jump down. It's too... it doesn't burn well, like it just fizzes. Fizzes with extra Z's. Alright. So that's kind of like a half of a cool combat encounter, right? So the middle of the room is going to be like really, really sticky. And so what guards can we have around it, right? Well, we don't want the spider yet because the spider is going to be the big boss at the very bottom, like a huge like box spider. Okay, cool. We have the boss. Huge spider. Judge spider. You know what? That's even better. It's going to be a judge spider. I don't know what that means, but that's cool. Okay, in the roots. All right. So other things we put inside this Deku Tree. We want like different stories. So we have to have a way to climb up. How do you climb up the next story? Maybe that there are monsters on the wall that are trying to like knock you off. Okay, smaller spiders. So actually, let me think about this, right? Like maybe 4 or 5 sessions ago, we did spiders as the monsters. And this might be a little bit too on the nose, right? Besides like solutions like this, like, oh, you need to climb up to jump down. If I tell them the fire doesn't work, the player's just gonna get frustrated and keep trying things to get through it, right? If you tell the player something doesn't work, they're just gonna try to find like ways to work around just by brute force rather than doing the thing that you expect them to do. So maybe we should reframe this. Okay, maybe not spiders. We'll put these centipedes. Like I have those cool giant centipedes minis that I made for one of my my craft videos. That'd be really fun. Yeah, okay, they're climbing up the wall, right? And the centipedes are like zipping around trying to knock them off. I think that would be fun. I like that. Yeah, and we can do it so like there's only certain spaces you can climb on the battle map. Like there's only like certain spaces that have vines. The rest of them are like blank. But the centipedes can still climb on the blank ones because they have like spider climb. They can move on walls. That'd be a really fun encounter. I like that one. Okay. So if you don't need to jump through the web, what's another reason you would climb up? What could be at the top that they would need in order to get to the bottom? I don't know. We'll think about this. Okay. So you know what? At the top there should be some treasure. Actually, you know what else I want to do before I forget? Let's go back up here to what's the reward from the Dryad. Maybe part of the reward. Additional information. It's thread. But it's the Feywild thread. It's the Feywoven thread. Which is one of the magic items that I made for like my magic item of the month mailing list. So that'll be fun to actually get to use it. Cool. All right, so back down here. Maybe at the top of the dungeon there's a special treasure. Okay. This treasure will be really powerful in the dungeon. Okay, you know what? We're going to make them bomb flowers, right? Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to totally Zelda out. Yeah, they grow at the top of the tree. Of the tree, you can get to one of the branches from the inside. Perfect. Cool. Awesome. So that's what they're going to try to climb up and get these cool bomb flowers. I like that. Okay, so maybe this thing is not just a web. Maybe it's like a stone web. Oh, and you have to use the bomb flowers to bust it open. Like to drop it down from like a great height. Oh, that'd be cool. Awesome. Yeah, or maybe you get like high enough that you like push a giant like bomb flower off. That will break it on the way down. Okay, and that tells me about this judge spider too, right? In the roots, its webs turn things to stone. That's nasty. Petrification. Yo, I love it. I love it. That's why the tree's dying. Tree's dying, stone roots. Okay, this is looking cool. This is looking cool. Yo, Dungeon Coach Alan, if you are watching, buddy, you're gonna see us again soon, I bet. Alright. What else are we gonna do here? All right, so we have a special treasure. We have a boss. We have like a weak, essential like guardian monster. What other things can we put in here? We have this little kind of puzzle, the stone web on the floor. But we're lacking a compelling reason that the players are going to come in here. Why did they come? They come, and we'll turn that into a twist. Okay. So yeah, folks, in case you haven't noticed, I'm just using the 5-room dungeon format. Because my players are not like in the scene enough to know what a 5-room dungeon is, so it always feels unique and special to them. Okay. Treasure. This is going to be the Guardian. I like how Google's lets me get away with that spelling. Gardafa. Probably because it's all capitalized. Okay, a boss. And this is going to be our twist. Alright, so let's go through the plot and see why on their way up the river towards finding the wish fish would they want to go inside this tree that's slowly being turned into stone. Alright, and what it's got to do is it's got to do something about feeling the villain, right? The villain's not in the Feywild. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, you know what? We're just going to put a pin on that. Come back a little bit later, and maybe we'll think of something. Alright. So let's think about our characters. That's always a good place to go if you are stuck. What do our main PCs want, and how can we find ways to give it to them? Major character moments. Try to steal the treasure map from the captain. He has a bad copy of the map. I'm struggling here, chat. Do I even have a section on... Okay, here we go. So, Rocky. Lives in town next to the dwarf. Dwarf Theranthrope. Zorf. You know, like Melf the elf. We have Zorf the dwarf. Althea is kind of the star of the show. And then we have the half-elf cleric. Okay. Oh, here's an idea. Maybe we can make this bit be like the half-elf cleric's like starring moment. Okay. So she was a war cleric. And she fought with the Empire. Her parents were ambassadors. And she lived on the human side of Cast the Stone. Okay. So maybe, just maybe, we can find a way to turn this dungeon into like that cave in Empire Strikes Back. You know, where Luke has to go inside and, you know, confront his fears, confront Darth Vader, and finds Darth Vader's really himself. Find a way to link this to the half-elf's identity crisis. Okay. All How are we going to do that? The Trial of Shadow. That sounds cool. I mean, I like that. Okay. So, I don't know. Maybe we could just make it kind of explicit on the outside that this tree is being torn in two. But it's not. It's being like corrupted from the bottom up. Can I put a MacGuffin at the bottom with another treasure down here with the boss? Maybe somebody asks them to try to save the tree. But who would ask them to try to save the tree? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep. There we go. We're on to something now. So maybe up here they meet somebody. Okay. They meet someone who offers to accept the cleric into their order. You can become fully part of this Feywild and have a home. But first, you must complete the Trial of Shadow. What's the Trial of Shadow? There's a ritual, and the result is you get your mission. Okay, so now we're getting something kind of iffy here, right? Because the cleric just might say, no, I don't want to do this. And then we just wasted all that nice dungeon. So what can we do to sweeten this deal? How can we make this more appealing? Make them want to be part of this order? And who is this someone? Okay, yep, the someone is the mother. Is the elf's mother. She returned to the Feywild. The Feywild in exile from Shade Meadow. After a failed mission. Alright, that's cool. Because that also brings in another point of contrast. Because our fool elf is from Shade Meadow. There we go. Oh, snap! Do you know who else we're going to meet? You'll also meet a Tezek elf. Who was a failed... Hortator. Which goes way, way, way deep into my lore, and it'll be nothing to anybody except for the missus. Right? Who's played in, like... You know, my wife, of course, played in all of my campaigns. And so this will mean something to her, but it won't mean anything to anybody else. Daniel Sousa, hey, what's up? Alpha Palooza, yeah, exactly. So another cool thing is this campaign is like set in the past, right? A lot of my world story keeps going forward and forward and forward and forward. But this time I decided, okay, we're gonna play 1,000 years before, or like 200 years before the previous campaign ended, right? So we know the Empire is going to break up because it's already happened. We know that all of these Tezek elves are doomed and are going to die, but it hasn't happened yet. And so that'll be kind of a cool point. I think that'll be a nice moment. Okay. So yeah, she can rejoin her mother. So now the half-elf can rejoin her mother. Oh, or at least have a home when she returns. Adventure. Cool, there we go. So this is a whole little side quest. It's not going to forward the main plot at all. But I think that's going to be like some nice player service, right? The half-elf is going to feel fulfilled. They're going to get a cool little backstory of lore. And the other players who've been itching for a fight are going to get a true dungeon. Alright, so let's go ahead and populate this dungeon maybe a bit more, right? Okay. So we're going to have 3 floors on it. I like that. So we're going to have the ground floor. Upper floor. No, we'll have the lower canopy. We'll do that. Canopy, the upper canopy. And then the roots. Cool. Heading 4, heading 4, and heading 4. Okay, in the roots, we're going to do the boss, the judge spider, which it's like a Medusa. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the stat blocks for a Medusa. I'm going to take the stat block for a giant spider and just smash them together. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that on stream in just a second here. Yeah, we still got almost 20 minutes. Over 20 minutes. Yeah, we got time. This is going to be in the roots. So this treasure is going to be up here in the upper canopy. This is going to be on the ground floor. In the lower canopy is going to be these guardians. All right. Hey, that's worked out really, really well. I kind of feel like I want to put a little bit more in here. Like maybe this lower canopy has like a little loop built in, like maybe 2 or 3 rooms. Yeah, so these just try to hurt you as you climb up from the ground floor. So maybe like put 2 rooms in this lower canopy. Room A, room B, and then room C. Room C has a way to get up to the upper canopy. All right, room A, let's do Deku shrubs. You know, they shoot stunning. No, I don't want to do stunning. Let's do blinding. Shoot blinding acorns. Yeah, cool. I like that. In room A, I don't know. Let's make this like a funny role-playing encounter, like maybe a giant squirrel. A giant squirrel who's bossing all the other ones around. There we go. Bossing a bunch of fairies around. They collect nuts for him. Nuts from him. Especially from the other room. From the Deku shrub. Oh, there we go. Cool. There we go. And maybe there's some sort of reward if they get them. If they get nuts. An albino squirrel. I like that. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do an albino squirrel because we did the white snow leopard last time. I actually described it like a Lisa Frank snow leopard. So let's just go ahead and record that before I forget. All the way up here. Session 9. Or session 10, right? Okay, right. And then they snuck past. Yep. They didn't sneak past. They got past the giant snow leopard. By feeding it Sleeping Draft from the poppies in the Rip and Wrinkle encounter. Awesome. 19 pages using all the one session. No. This is like my entire... This is like the document for my entire campaign. It's on Patreon, by the way. Link in the description. Oh, a cheetah pattern squirrel. That might not be bad. You know, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's do it like Avatar. Let's make it a tiger squirrel. Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Okay. And you can get to room C from room A or room B. In room A, the squirrel's like literally like blocking the entrance. He doesn't want to move off his big pile of nuts. And you can get to room C from room B if you like get past the Deku shrubs. Cool. Awesome. So maybe in the upper canopy, there's also parrots, bats, flying squirrels, sturges, some sort of flying monster. Okay. Yeah, you know what? This is awesome, right? Something else on the ground floor. So this stone web is already kind of a puzzle. You'll be able to see through it. But I gotta make it, no, like, you can't, well, maybe you could just spend here all day chipping it. What happens if you spend all day chipping it? If you try and just break it, it attracts the attention of something. I don't know. I feel like we need some sort of like other like mini puzzle down here rather than just like a stone web. I don't know. Either way, like this is a pretty solid start for dungeon. I still have until like tomorrow at 7 o'clock, 6:30 to finalize it. So now just for fun, let's go ahead and try to kit bash. Try to kit bash our monster. Hold on one second. I'll go ahead and pull up the stats for a Medusa and a giant spider, and then we'll blend them together. All right. Well, 1 second, folks. 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Okay, I'm figuring this out. Just 1 second longer. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, there we go. That's working now. All right. Well, I just copy pasted the stat blocks, and now we're going to try to smush them together into one. All right, it's going to be a solo boss monster, so it's got to be really tough. So hit points 126. That's not going to do. It'll be a Medusa spider. It's going to be a large monstrosity. Let's make it a huge monstrosity. It's going to be unaligned because it's just, you know what? We'll make it neutral. Neutral evil. Armor class 15, natural armor. I think that makes sense. Hit points, let's keep that. Speed 30 feet. Let's also give it a climb speed. So let's go ahead and snag this. This is all weird. Okay. Huh. Okay. You know what? It'll probably just be easier just to do this from scratch. Okay. So what's the strength of Medusa? It's got to be greater than 10. The strength of the giant spider, 14. Well, let's make it huge and boost it up to 16. I like that. Plus 3. Dexterity 15 sounds about right. Constitution, let's take the giant spiders. Remember these are all like off by 1. This is going to be a 12 for its Constitution. But let's bump it up to 14 because it's a big monster. Plus 2. Medusa Spider could become really similar to a Basilisk. You know what? A Basilisk would not be a bad one to take either. I think they have like a really similar mechanic, like how they petrify, right? It's probably almost identical. Let's go check that out. Basilisk. Basilisk monster. Okay, yeah, this is Gaze. Yeah, pretty much DC Constitution saving throw. Versus Medusa DC 14. I kind of like this because it's scarier. Okay, but you know what's going to be caught in its webs, right? So it's actually going to be like 3 fails in a row, right? You need to be caught in the webs, and then you need to fail like 2 saves. So it actually gives them a lot of time. Is instantly petrified. Nice. Okay, cool. Giant spider. Can you shoot web? No. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Oh, Medusa's the CR6? I had no idea. Okay. So a little bit, we'll go ahead and fix these hit points to make it match this con, because that's the sort of thing that I care about, but no one else does. Intelligence, wisdom, charisma. We'll just take the spider stats for this. Intelligent 4, which is minus 2, 4, 6. Wisdom. I mean, it's a spider, so it's gotta be like have pretty good senses. Just make it a 10. Plus 0. And charisma, I don't know, 4 minus 6. Because it's still like a big apex monster. Cool. Awesome. Okay, we'll give the spider skills just stealth. Okay. Okay. So if it's CR6, what's its proficiency bonus then? Plus 4? Basilisk is 3. His proficiency bonus is going to be plus 2. Yeah, so I think this is plus 3 at the CR6. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So only going to be plus 5 on its stealth. That's fine. Passive perception is going to be only 10. Language is none. Actually, no, let's give it a language. Let's give it Under Sylvan. That's not even a language, but I made it up. Sylvan. Okay. So what range is going to be plus 5, 3 plus 2. Yes, that works. One creature is an action, you can make a DC 12. So this is going to be more than that, right? Faldreath's Monster Maker? No, I haven't. So it'd be Petrifying Web. It's going to be his Dexterity 2 plus the proficiency bonus 3. There's only +5 to hit, I guess. Okay. This will be a DC 14, though. We're going to go ahead and raise that up. This will also be a DC 14. When a creature that starts its turn... restrained... by the Medusa Spider's webs... it must make DC 14 Constitution saving throw. Period. It's petrified instantly. Otherwise, the creature begins to turn to stone and is restrained at the end of each turns. It's already restrained by these webs, right? Yep. Okay. So, you know what? Maybe we can make this a little less punishing. No, let's keep that, right? Oh, but here it's no longer restrained by the webbing. It's just restrained in general. Oh, man. So the thing is, this is really, really similar to that last encounter I ran, where the webs, like, did poison damage. Okay. So, you know what? Let's keep the same idea. It's just not going to be a spider anymore. Okay, what's another... this will become goo. This isn't a spider. It's a... You can think of another like creepy creature that would be a parasite in a tree and shoot blobs of goo. It does the calculations for you. That would be nice. Make this a masterpede. Instead of a millipede or a centipede, it's a masterpede. Petrifying glob. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Nope, we're not gonna take all that. There we go, and that's it. Multi-attack. No, we're gonna use the giant spider's attacks for bite. All right, and throw this right in here. Musa Masterpede. Makes 2 melee attacks. I think 3 is a little bit too much. Makes 2 bite attacks. 2 bite attacks. Makes either 3 bite attacks. Yeah, you know what? Or a bite attack and a goo attack. And goo. There we go. All right, this is going to be... This is more than +5. This is going to be +6. Okay. Its reaches... Let's make it... Maybe it can jump out a bit. It's going to have like a long neck, right? It's like a snake. It's going to like shoot out. Okay. 1d8. We're going to jump that up because it's a huge creature. So it goes from 3d8, right? Or is it 5d8? Does it increase by 2 each creature size? I think so. Man. Yo. I don't want to do poison damage. I think this is already bad enough, right? Okay. I think this is already like a plenty nasty creature. Okay. So let's go ahead and see if these hit dice are right. So this is going to be 17 and 17 times 2. Okay, so that's wrong hit dice. But you know what? I think we'll just leave it at 127. Maybe, right? Can we do that? No. I think we need to change that. Well, it's got okay armor. It's just this this bite is a lot. And it makes 2 of them a turn. I don't know. I think that's a little concerning. I think 3d8 will just be enough, right? I think it's plenty of damage, especially with 2 bite attacks. Like, that's enough. Like, they're only 5th level. This is still pretty... This is plenty hard. Yeah, that's... I think it's a fair monster. I wish, you know, maybe I'll plug this in somewhere and see what the CR is, but I think this is probably just about fine for my party. Whew. And with that, I think we are about done with the stream for today, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you like this document or you want some of my other campaigns, it's on my $1 Patreon, link in the description. Also, I just posted a bonus video on there today about my my party at MomoCon. As always,